What's a movie you can watch several times and still genuinely not understand at all? Mulholland Drive and/or Lost Highway. Basically anything from David Lynch. Eraserhead, WTF? I had a drunk dude take a piss in the seat behind me while watching that movie, and it wasn't the most surreal thing I saw that night. Yes, Mulholland Drive. I watch it, get sucked in, and it spits me out. I was working in a movie theater when this movie came out, and most people were kind of silent and dazed as they left the theater. I feel like Lynch movies take some time to determine whether or not you like them, so this wasn't surprising to me. Then one Saturday evening, a guy walks out of the theater and yells, "That was the stupidest crap I've ever seen." I noticed a lot of people looked kind of relieved that someone actually said it. The first 2/3 of Mulholland Drive were a hopeful dream that Diane Selwyn had while sleeping in her bed in her apartment. Her dream was hoping that the hit on Camilla would fail, and she would fall back in love with Diane. Her dream also made excuses for her not getting the part. The final third of the movie was when the cowboy says, "Wake up, little girl." She does wake up, and she remembers the meeting with the hitman at Winky's where he told her to look for a blue key behind the restaurant. When she went behind Winky's and found the key, she went to her apartment and killed herself when the cops came to her door. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. I'm going to watch it with a notepad next time and write crap down, so I can keep track. I love this movie, but even after watching it a few times and reading the wiki, the connections that tie everything together at the end elude me. I guess there's some really small hints or offhand comments throughout that lead to the ending. Primer. I firmly believe that movie was created solely to convince viewers to stop picking on time travel movie plot holes. You want a realistic time travel movie? Fine, here's a realistic time travel movie. Are you happy now? Look at IT. Are you happy? I have watched the movie 3 times, looked at multiple charts that claim to explain the plot, and I still have no idea what the hell is happening in it. Technically, the movie isn't made correctly. However, I think that's kind of the point. When you have time travel, many of the normal literary rules are broken. The first time travel we see with Abe is actually taking place for the nth time, at least third. The first time travel happens with Abe, but we don't see that. What we see is Abe time traveling and then hanging out with Aaron, but this is actually Aaron 3. Aaron 3 already experienced being told about time travel by Abe, and then he went back and recorded everything that happened that day, Aaron 2, and then he went back and tried to relive the day over and over as Aaron 3, so he could be a hero during the birthday party when that one guy shows up with a shotgun. So when Abe goes back to reset everything to prevent time travel from getting out into the wild, it's too late. Aaron 2 is already off to who knows where building house-sized time travel boxes, and Aaron 3 stole the original box and replaced it with another one so that he's the only person who can travel back to the very beginning. They throw in some hints. Abe is really careful with everything he does, but Aaron is very ready, fire, aim in his approach. He's not careful with messing with time travel because he already kidnapped himself and threw him in the attic, why he doesn't want to call the exterminator when his wife complains about whatever is in the attic making noise. So he knows that it doesn't matter if you change things while time traveling. Abe forgets where the time travel is in one scene and tries to open a door one cell early in the storage facility. But Aaron nods to the correct door, showing that Aaron has been to the facility many more times than Abe has. Finally, Aaron starts showing symptoms long before Abe does, the bleeding ear, showing that he has been time traveling many more times than Abe. This is sort of like having an unreliable narrator. Except it has a special time travel twist to it. Normally we expect to be seeing things as they happen in the plot. Even in Tenet we're watching things as they unfold, it's just that they're unfolding in a really weird path with respect to the wall clock. But in Primer we see things after a bunch of time travel has already occurred, but we're not aware that we're going through things the nth time. And I think that's the point, because once you have a time machine, then you can never know if you're actually in a history that someone else is traveling through. Birdemic. Watched it twice and I don't know why. Global warming makes birds bomb the crap out of them and go on murderous rampage. Synecdoche, New York. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Monkey meets monolith, Monkey becomes man. Man meets monolith, realize monolith is alien. Men go to Jupiter, AI kill men. Man meets monolith, man meets aliens, man becomes Starchild. Sorry, it's all one story. Monolith changes apes into man-apes. Monolith changes man-apes into men. Monolith changes man into Starchild. All one story, the story of the monolith. Women inherit the earth. First one I thought of. I've seen 2001 a couple of times over the years, and while I'm always impressed with the visual set design / etc., I still don't think I've ever quite gotten it. Here are 3 stories mixed with a 15-minute acid trip. Eraserhead. A grad student living in squalor with his computers becomes socially isolated, paranoid, and obsessive, and I'm sitting there watching it and being like, this is normal, this is fine. Web link. As a former migraine sufferer, I can vouch that the visuals of his attacks give you a good idea of what happens to your vision. I forgot Pi was a movie and was thinking of, at first, and was like, I thought that was a movie about a tiger on a boat? Web link. The end of Evangelion. I love it, but I have no idea why. Didn't understand a single thing, still loved it and would totally watch it again. Evangelion's wacky. Okay, so. SEAL, the organization that's been pulling the strings of NERV, the UN, and everything else, realizes that Gendo has no intention of following their plans for human instrumentality. They respond by having UN forces invade the Geofront to eliminate all NERV personnel and retrieve the EVAs. Shinji, meanwhile, is experiencing an emotional breakdown after the death of Kaoru. Gendo attempts to initiate instrumentality on his own terms, intending to use it as a means to reunite with Yui. Rei 3, however, is having none of that, taking Adam into herself and merging with Lilith to give control of instrumentality to Shinji instead. She's able to do this because while she is physically a clone of Yui, her soul is that of Lilith. Meanwhile, SEAL's EVA units capture Unit 01 with Shinji inside to initiate instrumentality. Since Unit 01 contains both an Angel's S2 core and the soul of Yui, plus Shinji, it contains both the fruits of life and wisdom, so when it merges with Lilith, now a giant naked Rei, the fate of all life now rests in Shinji's hands. Since Shinji's ego has long since collapsed and all of his personal relationships have gone catastrophically awry, he wills all humanity to disappear. Then Everone turns to Orange Tang. To be more specific, Lilith begins taking the souls of all life on Earth back into the Black Egg, which she does by penetrating their at fields with images of their loved ones, or brute force in Alba's case, and reverting their physical forms to LCL, which is really just primordial soup / Lilith's blood. Shinji meanwhile is forced to confront his relationships to various characters as well as his own trauma. Upon reaching the sea of LCL, where all the souls on Earth have coalesced into a single Gestalt entity, he realizes that this world isn't perfect either. There's no sadness or pain, but also no joy. He tells Rei as much and decides to return to his physical body. Lilith makes it so, her body falling apart in the process. Yui and Unit 01 are left drifting through space, as was Yui's intention all along. Unit 01 is now eternal proof of mankind's existence. Before parting ways, she assures Shinji that everyone can return to their physical form so long as they possess the will to do so. As Shinji comes to on the beach, it seems that only he and Asuka have done so. Either in an act of self-actualization or a moment of insanity after the trauma he's been through, Shinji tries to strangle Asuka. Asuka responds by caressing his cheek, the first act of unguarded affection she's ever shown him, which makes him stop and collapse into tears. Her final words in the film, Kimichi Warui / how disgusting, can be read as a response to Shinji's actions in the opening scene, but really the whole final scene on the beach is pretty vague and open to interpretation. B-movie. The trick is to view Patrick Warburton's character as the protagonist in a horror movie where the rest of the world goes mad around him. He's the only character in the whole movie that is logical. Like she fell in love with a bee? Are you effing kidding me, Seinfeld? Anyone tell them that most bees are female? She's a lesbian. A member of the beat community. B-movie is one of the funniest animated movies I've seen. It's not the most coherent story, but the jokes are really underrated. Courtesy of Nolan, we now have Tenet. I understand the concept, but the movie logistics behind it make no sense. Like the last battle scene is still a big WTF to me. Temporal pincer move. That now exists in my vocabulary. I still don't understand who they are shooting at. If only I could hear what the characters were saying while not getting my eardrums destroyed during action scenes, then maybe I could make sense of what's happening. I'm thinking of ending things. It's about an old guy thinking back on the one that got away and trying to imagine how it could have gone if he asked a girl he liked for her number and started dating. He knows nothing about her, which is why everything like her name and what she does keeps changing. It's just him trying to decide how he wants his fantasy to play out and trying out different ideas. Same with the way parents seem to jump around in time. He can't decide in this fantasy what time period he'd actually be taking her to meet his parents, so it's a mix of all of them. But ultimately he realized she never would have liked him anyway. Brazil. Even for a Terry Gilliam film, it's a mind trip. And I think it's a great film, but man is it difficult to parse. From Justin to Kelly. Donnie Darko. Try watching the director's cut if you haven't already. It does a better job at trying to explain things in a sci-fi manner, parallel universe, time travel, etc. You get some quotations on screen from the book the crazy old lady wrote. The theatrical version is more ambiguous. I think I'm going to rewatch them both back to back. I actually really like the film. Also, just got to say I love the scene that features Head Over Heels by Tears for Fears. The plane propeller is supposed to fall on Donnie's room and kill him, but he's not there, so it doesn't. The movie is set in an alternate universe where the sole purpose of everyone is to indirectly, Gretchen, his teacher, Grandma Death's book, or overtly, Frank the Bunny, trying to guide him towards time traveling back to that night, so he can die and stop the world from ending. It took me a long time to figure it out, but it's my favorite movie of all time. There are so many ways you can interpret it, and it definitely benefits from multiple viewings. Swiss Army Man. Still, would watch again. This good movie. 2001, A Space Odyssey. I like it well enough, but I just don't understand all the trippy parts. The aliens are trying to help out species that may go extinct, but have the potential to become nice, intelligent, advanced races capable of venturing out into space. So, they do a few things. They give the species any little nudge to keep them from dying out. For humans, they plant the idea in their minds that they could start eating other animals, which results in humans not starving to extinction, and the high-protein diet helps their brains keep getting larger. In the book, the aliens also tweak the humans' brains to be a bit more intelligent, but in the movie that does not happen as much, although the humans do seem a bit smarter, as they suddenly decide to try using animal bones as tools to help kill other animals for food. The aliens put a device on the moon, which will be triggered once humans develop basic space flight and can reach the moon. Once triggered by some humans getting close to it, this device sends a signal to a fancier monolith/device near Jupiter, which will turn Jupiter into a small star once humans get near to this second device. The main point of this signal is probably just for the humans to notice it, so that they are motivated to send a spaceship and humans to the Jupiter device. The HAL 9000 computer going crazy and killing people has little or nothing to do with this main plot. It was told to lie to its crew, but it's not supposed to do that, and it freaks out and kills people. Oops. 2001 doesn't show the part where the aliens turn Jupiter into a star. That happens in the sequel. Eventually, astronaut Dave gets near the device/monolith near Jupiter, and this causes the monolith to activate, which is the start of the long trippy ending of the movie. The aliens plan to create a sort of helper creature by turning the first human to get to Jupiter into a weird trippy thing, just because. In the movie, this isn't really meant to be explained clearly, but the audience can kind of guess that astronaut Dave is being turned into something new by the end of the movie. The aliens give Dave a quick tour of the universe, driving him crazy pretty much right away. Oops, and sort of speed up the remainder of his normal human life, so he can change into star baby thing once he dies of old age. So, once the movie sequel is done, humans have survived long enough to have solar system space flight, and they have a bunch of terraformed moons they can use to start colonies, thus avoiding death if Earth is wiped out by an asteroid, war, disease, etc. They are fairly safe, and they are set up to continue exploring the universe. Happy times. Maybe other species the aliens are trying to help are given some similar but different set of devices, which are intended to give the species a few extra planets or moons in their solar system to live on. Cloud Atlas. I understand it now, but I was 14 when I saw it first time and I had to watch it a couple times until I got the idea right. It's one of my favorite movies. Tenet. What the F are inverted bullets? Inverted entropy. Basically, you do things, interacting with the world, and then stuff happens. Things fall to the ground due to gravity, magnets repel, etc. We perceive time because things follow this rule. So when things start flying up into your hand, or bullets into guns, it's not reversing time, it's inverted entropy, which makes it look like time is reversing. Time is going forward, but it looks like something is happening in reverse because the entropy is inverted. So let's say you put a ball onto your hand and it rolls off onto the ground. It bounces a few times and stops. Now let's say you inverted a second ball and set it on the floor. You put your hand in the same spot, the ball bounces slightly, then more and flies up and rolls onto your hand. The first ball is normal entropy, the second is inverted. The first ball responds to things you do in normal time. The second ball responds in the exact same way but in reverse order. That begs the question, how did the ball know that you were going to put your hand there and let it roll off? In the context of the movie, it doesn't matter. Everything always happens. Time is symmetric. You never had the free will to not put your hand there and catch the ball, or, if you did, the ball would have just sat there. I read this twice and don't get it still, thanks though. Original poster replies. Personally, it's Tenet. Everyone talks like you already know everything and it skips around way too much. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.